What's up, guys? So as you may know by now, I am now in Bali in Indonesia, and I've been staying at these incredible hostels. That's one of the amazing things about being in Bali is there are so many incredible, beautiful locations that you can stay at, and also really awesome people to hang out with and meet. So we're going to have a little bit of a chat. We were already off camera having a bit of a chat about kind of where in our lives led us to traveling, what we like about traveling, the pros and cons, and how we're able to sustain traveling and moving about. And it was like too good of a conversation not to put on camera.
Yeah.
So we decided to set up a camera, and hopefully this doesn't seem too staged or unnatural, because it was really flowing well when we started.
Yeah, when we started. And the great thing is, it's like a three, not like generation, but it's like, so Liu here he's from Singapore, he's Singaporean, he's like in the early 20s, 21. I'm in the mid 20, I'm like 26, and Ryan is like 30.
Old man.
No, old man, no. So it's like Liu and Ryan. Liu just started solo traveling. Ryan already solo traveling for how long, Ryan?
Coming up 3 months almost.
Yeah. Like solo traveling?
2.5 months, yeah.
So solo traveling for 2.5 months. But let's say like you start like,
But I've been traveling for years, you know. I built my life around.
10 years?
Yeah, maybe longer.
Maybe longer.
Not like staying at hostels like this, but I built my career and my job around being able to move around a lot.
So 10 years. And I just got started. So the question is, because a lot of people think like traveling is addicting. Okay, and they said that once you travel, you don't want to stop. I don't know if that's good or not, but the thing is, like, when is the time that you need to stop, and or does it need really to be stopped traveling and just stay, like settle down? Is that really necessary?
I think it depends on the person. What I realize is that you get two types of people, right? You get those people that like to kind of step out their comfort zones occasionally and kind of get a taste, but they prefer the comfort of their everyday, the things that they know. That weight is greater for them. They'd rather sit in the side that's more predictable and more comfortable, but like a little taste, you know. They'll come to Asia for maybe a couple weeks or a month or a couple months with their friend, get an experience, and then they're like, that was a really cool experience, and I'm glad I did it. Now I'm ready to move on to the next stage of my life. And then you have the other people that are like, wow, this is a whole new world, you know?
Yeah.
And I just had a taste of that world, and now I want to see more.
Yeah.
And we know how big the world is.
Uh-huh.
It's endless. You could spend your whole life
Exactly.
experiencing things. Good.
So like for you, when do you, let's say like settle down?
Never. It's not going to happen. And I think that was one of the most challenging things that I had, you know, was coming to that realization that for me there is no like end. And I thought that there was. I get out of my system when I'm young, and then I can do what a lot of people consider as like what you do. You have kids, you settle down, and I think that it's impossible for me, you know. I think my normal is different from other people's normal. Yeah. Which I think is scary in your 30s, because when you're in your 30s, there are certain societal, at least where I come from, societal pressures that say you need to have a house, you need to have a car, you need to have stability, and you need to start to think about having kids and all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole traveling lifestyle thing is a fun thing that you do when you're in your 20s. But I just hope that there's a different way of doing that, you know, where that could be, you meet somebody that's similar to you and is open to raising a kid. Hi, how are you doing? Would you like to join our conversation? Oh, look at it. And maybe there's just a different norm for people like me, you know. I think you see some people that have raised kids whilst traveling, and their kids get a bit of a diverse upbringing, and there are ways to do it differently.
Yeah.
I don't think that there is any going back.
Yeah.
People like me.
That's like I don't know if that's like a death sentence once you travel. It sounds like a death sentence, like you cannot go back to your normal life, like normal.
It's probably
But it's like a happy death sentence, let's say.
yeah,
You're right.
it's probably like once you, I don't know, like a drug almost. Like once you start adding a bit of sugar to your coffee, like,
Yeah.
and then you add a bit more, and then you drink a coffee without sugar in it. You're like, fuck, this is gross. You have to wean yourself off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you just started. When I mean, let's say like right now, when do you want to? Let's say like Scott, that settle. Do you have it already in your mind?
So it's like I mean, for me, like I'm very close to my parents, so I've got to start off by saying that first. So like I'm very close to my family. Like it's not very common that you actually have this kind of situations in Singapore. Like in a traditional Asian community culture itself, like kids and their parents are not so close. Like because a lot of times we grow up and our parents are like, okay, I need you to do this. I want you to become a doctor. I want you to become this. I want you to become that.
Right.
And like the kids just like grow up, and then initially they're like, I don't mind doing this, but like along the way they're like, this is just fucking tiring, mate. Like I don't want to be doing this. And then the relationship between the parents just starts straining because the parents just feels that like, I want you to do this. Why can't you just do this? Like, I brought you to like so many like paid for your education and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And why are you like not working as hard as I wanted you to work for? So
There's a lot more pressure.
Absolutely, like in Asian society, especially in Singapore, where like education is such an important thing everywhere you go. The stigma is so strong, and so I'll have a lot of mates who like they're not so close to their parents at all. It's really quite sad because
It comes out in like resentment almost, maybe.
yeah, pretty much. And like you have like you go days where like you don't even see your parents. Like they just go to they stay in like halls. They stay in. It's not like, and you're in Singapore, mind you. It's not like you're living in a state where like in strife, where like you move out of your state, and like you're starting somewhere else and you can't see your parents because location is the issue. Like you're in Singapore, you literally can see them if you want to, but like they don't do that because they're not so close to them. So for me, like I always like learn the importance of like being close to my family because I know that regardless of what happens to me, like whether people I lose friends, I lose like relationships and stuff like that, but family is always gonna have my back, So because of that, like,
Hey, it's so good. Yeah, we're here having an open conversation with anybody that wants to join.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like in that case, like my parents are one of my closest friends. Like I tell them about everything. I speak to them like in the same way that I speak to my mates.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so like because of that, like as much as I love traveling, like I want to be around them. I want to be there if anything was to happen to them. And like my parents married pretty late, so like my dad is pushing 62 now. So and I'm only 21 and like the oldest child.
Right.
Also, if anything was to happen to them, like I want to be in this area, and that's why pretty much I chose Bali to like kind of like settle out now. Like as much as I love traveling, I do like Nepal, Japan, and stuff like that. But I choose to just base myself in Bali for now, because at least like I can be very close to them. Like I can have like a balance between having fun by myself, traveling and stuff, being overseas, meeting people, and also like being close to my parents. So that's number one. And number two is if you ask me when do I ever want to stop, I think like I really think that my time will come when if I find somebody.
Okay, so that's it.
So that is like probably my turning point. But of course, like Ryan was saying, if my partner is somebody that shares the same sentiments with me, she wants to travel the world and stuff like that, then I don't know where I'll go from this.
What I wonder is if you'll come to realize whether you meet somebody that is into similar things or not. I wonder if that whole thing that you're enjoying now, the traveling thing and exploring thing, is going to be so strong that if you do get into a relationship with somebody that doesn't share that same similarity, how long that will sustain itself, whether you're able to be like, that's cool, we're different in those ways, maybe I go travel sometimes and come back, or whether that becomes a deal breaker. For me, it was a big strain on my relationship. But you also bring up a really interesting point as well, that I think is important because you kind of preface this whole thing with like you have a pretty tight bond with your family, and like I do, but I had a bit of a like a different upbringing. Like my dad passed away when I was younger, and I became quite independent from a very young age.
Yep.
And I'm close to my mom as well, but I value being able to get away and travel. I don't know, like it's less of an issue for me. I feel like she's fine in her life. I don't feel like I need to be there. But I understand because my stepdad's also getting quite a bit older.
Yeah.
And I want to spend more time with them as well. But they live in England and I just really don't like England, you know.
You're in the under part of the world.
But that's also another thing as well. It's like whether you really enjoy your own country. And I'm finding that's a big problem for me. Like I don't enjoy the country that I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't connect with it very well. I don't resonate with it much. And I think that's also something within me growing up that I'm gonna have to come to amends with somehow, like fix that, like by maybe going traveling in my own country.
That's true.
What about you? Do you love your country that you come from? Are you like really happy that you grew up here? Or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Indonesia is a good country. I mean, it's a good country. You can live well, you can eat well, cheap, it's fine. But for me, the thing is, like, it's like a waste if you born and then you dead, but between you're born, like you were born and dead later, you don't live in another part of the world or in another country. Like for me, I never live outside my city. I never do it. Well, like the maximum travel that I did is like 3 weeks, and that's like Thailand, Vietnam, and
that's up to this point now.
Yeah, that's like,
which is crazy because you speak so many different languages. Like you would be able to fit in so many places in the world.
That's the thing. Like for me, like my dream is like I want to live like in the South America. So maybe like 6 months in Brazil, 6 months in Argentina, 6 months in Chile, blah blah blah. I just want to at least like to live that, to try that. But also the thing is that is the thing that I'm afraid, like if I achieve that, and most probably I will born, right? Most probably I won't. I don't want to stop. Maybe I want like, okay, this is enough. I want Europe, okay? And after Europe, okay, that's enough. Maybe I want Africa. Maybe I want Asia. And that's like, if that sums up, and let's say like I've done every continent, living like 6 months, that. Like, how old am I going to be at that moment for it? And if that's the thing, do I want to settle? Not ready. I think I'm ready, but do I want it to settle up?
You settle down.
Yeah, settle down.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, yeah. It's not like I like traveling. I love it. Everyone does. But it's like that's like the thing that I'm thinking right now. Like,
do I want to open that box?
do I
Open that Pandora's box of travel?
Do I want to stop?
Right.
Maybe right now I can say yeah. Or the moment I can say like, yeah, I want to stop. Maybe like in the mid-30 or maybe early 40. Yeah, I will stop and I will settle down.
It's almost like what you don't know.
Yeah, but
But
it's like you in your 30, you want more.
Yeah.
You want more. It's not enough. And then,
but I'm also trying to figure out how that's not just a self-serving thing, right? Because it seems like a lot of this is very self-serving. You know, like I would like to see these cultures. I would like to see these countries. And that's a lot of resources going into traveling all around the world, flights, gas, all these things. So how do you, at least I constantly am battling, like, or at least trying to figure out, like, all right, if I'm doing this because I want to do it, and it's very self-centered, but how can I also do something that makes it a little bit less so, you know, like, so it's not just about me, how and I was still trying to work through that because I do think it can be quite self-serving, and people often when they start traveling or they have like a bucket list or whatever, and then they tick it off like it's like a, I don't know, like something that's like like a to-do list, you know. It's like, and they'll do, I did Thailand, I did Cambodia, I did Laos, I did this, I did this, I did this, I visited this many countries, I did this. It's like it's an achievement or a goal, but in reality, like, yes, that could be a goal, but it's really not that hard to jump on an aeroplane and like the pilot, all the work's been done for you, you know. All you have to do is move your body around. So what is the next level beyond that, you know? You know, you're of course it's often more than that. You're seeing people, you're experiencing different cultures, you're learning more, and hopefully my thought is that the way that it becomes less of a self-serving thing is that you teach people, you communicate with others, you tell friends that might have a opposite view on something. Well, this is how they did it here, this is how they did it here, and then maybe you can share that knowledge somehow. And hopefully by doing these videos as well, that it becomes a little bit less self-serving, so other people can kind of experience other people's point of view.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I used to do this very often. Like I've just been, you know, mainly going to Bali over the course of the last couple since summer. So I haven't actually done a lot of countries. I mean, I was doing Europe last year and did Southeast Asia, somewhere in Bali, Cambodia, Indonesia, Jakarta. I was working in Jakarta actually, and then I was Vietnam and stuff like that. And across the time that I'm traveling, I used to always ask people, like locals, you know, foreigners, people that I meet along the way, whether it's in the hostels or anything, like I would just be like, okay, mate, why do you travel? It's just a very simple question, like, why do you travel?
Yeah.
And when I ask them this question, you know, I have like a lot of responses. You have like people telling me that they travel because of people. They travel to meet people. I have people that tell me that they travel for experiences. I have people that tell me they travel for food. I have people that tell me they travel just to hook up with girls. I've had that. You know, over beer at a bar, like I got like mates telling me, oh, you know, have you met the Swedish girls before? Have you met the Finnish girls before? Like, that's why I travel. And I'm like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So it's a question like you know, I'm always constantly trying to ask myself, but I think over the course of time, I pretty much found the answer for myself.
Yeah.
Like the reason why I travel is for people. You know, is to speak to people, and it varies. Like, you know, for you it might be like, oh, I travel because I like to experience new things. Like I come to Bali because I want to experience like an Indonesian culture.
Yeah.
Or I come to Vietnam because I want to try like the food in Vietnam, something like that. Like I like to go to different places for this and that.
Right.
But like, what is the reason behind like why you guys like travel? And you have to like think about what, like, you know, that is like, to me, it is my checklist. Like I go to a country and I'm like, okay, I want to speak to this person because I want to get to know them. I want to get to know like the culture. I want to get to know how they are, how they live their lives, are they happy? And I have like crazy responses. I remember I was in Luang Prabang in Laos, and I was going back to the airport, flying back to Bangkok, and I spoke to my taxi driver, and I asked him, you know, like he doesn't travel, obviously he doesn't have money for that, and I was asking him, was like, you know, are you happy in your life? It's like I said, I like to just ask this very generic questions from there, you know, you branch out and stuff like that. So I asked him like, are you happy in your life? And he was just like, yeah. I mean, I've been driving for 10 years. He's like 34 years old this year. I've been driving for 10 years of my life. I love just driving people around. Like, to me, it's
Awesome.
I mean, to me, I can't understand it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very different thing. It's like a whole. It's like, you know, when you read stories about like crazy, like people who do this, like they climb mountains like every single year, they go to Everest and stuff like that, or they go down to the depths of the ocean, they do, and then you're like, oh, you know, it's crazy and stuff. But like this guy,
This guy is
just driving for 10 years, bro. Like, and it's just like, oh, I'm so happy, you know. Like it doesn't faze me that I should be doing something else. Like I'm contented where I'm like, okay, fair enough. Like I'm happy for you, mate. Like
Yeah.
it's a moment where you just like ask yourself like, isn't that just surreal? You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know, like it was crazy.
It's amazing.
It is.
And yeah, and I think that those are the reasons why it is nice to travel, because you can meet people that do different things like that.
Exactly.
But it also makes you think like, man, I'm doing all these things to try and like obviously, well, it depends. But for me, happiness is a part of.
Yeah.
I gain happiness from meeting other people, hearing stories about their whatever the upbringing, past, whatever, anything that everyone can bring something unique. I gain happiness from seeing the surroundings and seeing nature that's completely different to things that I'm used to.
Yeah.
Food, culture, all those things. I gain happiness from. But it's also same thing. I try and ask them similar questions. And taxi drivers are great. Well,
Yeah.
great people to talk to, isn't
Taxi
it? They can always be therapists.
Yeah.
Like, they're a good insight into local life.
So Liu, what is the craziest? I mean, like the response to the question, like, why do you travel? But like the response that hits you.
I think I would say it's the taxi driver. The taxi, like it was just very simple. It was a very simple answer. He just like he literally I was outside. So are you happy? If you're like right now, and he was just like he literally looked at me and just started laughing. He's like, what's there not to be happy about? I love driving people. It's been 10 years and like it's and this guy I'm telling you he makes like maybe in month $20-$30.
Yeah.
I reckon he makes nothing at all. He just literally just drives people around and just pits. And in Laos, it's so cheap to just drive people around, so you get paid peanuts at all. And the fact that he can still, be contented with his life, eating his family and stuff like that, it just makes me realize that like, okay, like traveling is one thing. It's a very big thing in a lot of people's lives, like people like us when we travel and stuff. But the main picture is about happiness.
Yeah.
Like, I find happiness, you find happiness in traveling, we find happiness in traveling. This bloke here just finds happiness driving a taxi for 10 years, and he has no complaints about it. And so it makes me, as a traveler, realize that like, as I travel, as I do something that I love to do, I get to understand the reason why people are happy, and like how I find happiness. Like happiness doesn't have to be like, oh, I did a lot of things today, a lot of productive things today. I went surfing in the morning. I met a couple of mates for lunch and stuff like that. I did this, I did that. Yeah, you could be happy doing that, and you could be happy just driving a taxi for 10 years if you like. And so when I'm back in Singapore and I talk to my mates about it, I'm like, it doesn't matter what you do. Like I always tell this. Like I don't say, oh guys, you guys should come over to Bali. You guys should start traveling and stuff. Like I never tell them that. I never tell them, do this, do that. And it's not because I don't want to sound like I'm dictating the lives or anything. It's just that
Hey man,
Hi.
feel free to join us.
Yeah, we're just filming something or
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just having a chat about traveling and
oh cool.
what we like.
Kind of.
Yeah, what we like to do.
Yeah.
You're welcome to come and just
Yeah,
join the chat.
Oh,
It's continue,
cool.
it's
Like,
okay.
I just was wondering,
Because my French.
No, definitely not. No, this is we're just chatting about what we think.
it's a free spirited chat, mate.
Okay, cool.
But I also think that like that's important as well to understand, because then you don't project your opinions on what
Exactly.
that somebody, even though he has to drive for minimum wage and is not making much driving, that like that somehow we should feel bad for that person.
Yeah.
Because like maybe that guy's, like you said, like happier driving,
Yeah.
and then us maybe traveling the world. He might be happier than we are.
Maybe that's a good place for him as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
And I think like for me, one of the trips that I've been to that really changed my life, I would say is really Nepal. Really like the people in Nepal, like especially the Sherpas.
Yeah.
If you know what the Sherpas are, like they were people who literally just carry fucking 30 kilos of bags and just walk up the mountains like on an everyday thing. It's like they do it just like they're going to school like that.
Yeah.
It's mental. Like I'm telling you, it's
mental.
and I spoke to like a couple of Sherpas. I remember I was just in this tea house somewhere in the middle of So from the start, the airport, and then we go up to base camp. So I was going up to base camp. I was somewhere in the middle, and I was sitting in this tea house. I just did my little hike in the morning, just to acclimatize my body. And I remember I was just sitting there, just using my phone, and there was this Nepalese chap in front of me. I mean, I clocked that he was a Sherpa, you know, his tie and all that kind of stuff. And I remember I was asking him, I was like, so are you a Sherpa? And he was like, yeah, I'm a Sherpa. And I was like, are you going up to Everest, or are you just going to base camp? Because you've got like two groups of miners. You've got those that just go to base camp and then they go back, and you've got those that go to base camp, stay there for a couple of weeks, start the climb to Everest. And I was like, okay, so are you going to Everest, or are you going to submit, or are you going to go to base camp? And he's like, I'm going to submit it. And I was like, oh, cool. Are you, is this your first time, or it's like, this year will be my 21st time.
Jesus. Wow.
Okay, now. At that moment, it's like I told you, it's like those moments. I always have like those moments in my life when I'm just like, when I listen to something, I'm just like, fuck it out. Time stops for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to exaggerate it. It's really crazy. Like, imagine somebody just sitting across you and it's like telling you he's been up to Everest 21 times in his life.
And you have people celebrating that they have spent $60,000 and make big deal on everything that they summited it. And you're this humble guy
Exactly.
just chilling.
And then I remember the next day I went to like this, it was just down from my tea house. I went to this Sherpa museum, and his name was just there. So like the guy who's climbed Everest the most number of times is 28 times, and he's been up there 21, so he's like the fourth. So he's ranked like the number 4th in the world that been up to Everest.
And these people never really get too much attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You would never know of this guy until like
Yeah.
I'm telling you the story right now.
Yeah.
Did I see the documentary about the police team?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they're so smart. He just drew from like this talent pool. He
Exactly.
crushed everybody.
Yeah, Nimsai is his name.
Yeah.
It's a crazy guy. It's ridiculous. Like, I mean, if I was, I mean, I'm trying to tell you guys, like, you know, if you ever have the chance, you have to go to Nepal. You don't necessarily have to do a hike there. You just have to go to Nepal and just speak to people. Like, it's cheap there. I paid like literally from Singapore to Nepal. I did 15 days there, just like the shortest visa, and I paid 1,500 Singapore dollars. That's about 20 million rupiah. 20 million rupiah for 15 days, including my flights back and forth to Singapore. So I could, it's not a lot of money to go to Nepal. You know, I mean, for the flights from like the UK, from the US is different, but like just to live in Nepal for 15 days, it's nothing at all. And the experiences that you get, I'm telling you, it's really crazy. I mean, especially if you do a hike and you speak to like people, it's funny. It's not a story that, I mean, if you don't mind me sharing, it's
Dude, keep sharing it. It's awesome.
Keep sharing
Yeah,
it.
that's why we do. This is why we like to travel.
it's
Hang on a second. Like the
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like this. I'm just going to
Are you gonna peace out?
peace
Do
out
they
because
speak
my
English
friend-
though?
Say that again?
Do they speak English?
In Nepal?
Yeah.
Yeah, they speak. I mean, it's just like you can get around and speaking just basic English, they can understand you. So I remember I was do I need a mic for this?
No? Okay, I have this.
Okay. So I remember I was it was in the same tea house. It's the tea house that I was staying at, and the one that I met this guy happens to be a really famous tea house, and I didn't know about it until I went there. So yes, I think it's hosted John F. Kennedy before,
Wow.
Jimmy Carter before.
No way.
Yeah, so it's a pretty crazy tea house. Like they have a lot of stories, and you see a lot of like signs, like famous celebrities.
And you just stumbled across it.
Just stumbled across it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I just went in, and I remember I met this guy, this Sherpa, and then the next day I met this Spanish runner. I can't remember his name, but he's a very famous ultra marathoner. So this guy, he basically ran up Mount Everest in 17 hours.
Jesus.
So just for context, yeah,
What's the standard?
it's normally you take a couple of like a few, at least 6 or 7 days to just. This guy ran up there in 17 hours. He has done like 100 kilometers runs in like 40 degrees heat in Spain, just drinking like I think 3 liters of water. It's a real. I can't remember his name. I mean, I'll go and Google it after I tell the story. But like, he's a very famous runner in Spain and across the world. And I remember when I was walking the next day, I left. So the way that we do it in Nepal is that we hike from one tea house to another tea house. So it's a 7 days hike to base camp. And I was hiking from this tea house to the next one, and everybody was like in line, and we were waiting because there was this group of like yaks. So yaks are like uh those animals that
Yeah.
they carry.
Yeah.
Not those booms, you know, like
Yeah, like
that they carry like
Like a bigger sheep.
Exactly.
Yeah, bigger sheep.
They carry like really heavy loads, and like they were like in a way. So like the route was just this route. You know, you couldn't if this part was like going downhill, like you would literally just fall off, and then this part is the mountain, and everybody was like, you know, we had to wait for the yachts. Like we couldn't make them go fast. So everybody was tracking at a very slow pace, and suddenly this guy that this marathoner starts running up the mountain and running down the mountain, like literally
To get around.
to get around the yacht itself. And then everybody, I was like at least like 40, 50 people just along the trail. We're just like looking at this crazy guy, and like it's ridiculous. Like, can you imagine it? Because the yaks are kind of wasting your time. You just run up a mountain just to run down it, just to go to. And I was like looking at it. I'm like, okay, you know what? This is really the amazing things that a human body can do.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a moment where I'm just like, yeah, fair enough. Like this, I don't know how I get into it, mate. Like it's crazy. Yeah. So that is one of like I think Nepal it's a lot. You have a lot of stories from Nepal. I remember my most expensive meal in Nepal was a cup of instant noodles at 5,000 meters. It cost me $10 just for literally a shim ramyeon Korean noodles.
Had to get all the way up there somehow.
Yeah.
$10 for that. I'm like, okay, you know what? 5,000 meters.
It's tingling for a horse.
Exactly. It's I mean, I paid for that. You have a lot of stories. You meet like people.
What was the salt like? It must have been like amazing.
What was the what?
Like the taste of like the packet, because you know you're up at altitude.
Oh.
You're low on electrolytes. Like, was it good?
Okay, so
Was it worth it?
I think it varies for people. Like a lot of people start getting so altitude sickness kicks in around 2,500 meters. Like I mean I don't know if you guys have done like high altitude.
So I've gone altitude sickness. It's not fun.
It's not.
It's not fun at
It's
all.
Not fun.
It's really one of the worst things that you can have experienced. Like I remember when I was
Like just dry heaving all night. It's work.
and you have like the worst headaches. You can't
Yeah.
sleep at all. Like you're trying to. It's like if you have a fever, if you have a very bad cough or bad runny nose, you just sleep through it, you know, and you hope that when you wake up, you get better. But in this case, altitude sickness doesn't allow you to sleep, so you get like fucking terrible headaches, like the worst headaches that you can ever have, and you have like difficulty just like one breath is like. You have to like really, you know,
Yeah,
have
really.
like super deep breaths and
The only experience I've had is in Quito, in Ecuador. It's like the ISC.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And that's obviously not like strenuous, but well, people live there.
Yeah.
It's like not a big deal, but you physically notice when you're walking, you're like, is there something wrong with my lungs?
Yeah.
So you have to really work to breathe.
and like the cure for that is they literally just say, all right, so it's very common that you have altitude sickness. You know, the way that we would recommend you to go about it is to simply drink this thing called garlic soup. And I don't know if you've ever tried garlic soup before, but it's the worst concoction in my life. It's literally just mashed garlic in water, and then they just make you drink it. And by the end of like your mouth just stinks of garlic. If you know how fucking bad garlic smells, like, it's your whole mouth is just fucking garlic. And then they say, okay, you know what? Finish it off with like a ginger lemon, hot ginger lemon, and it makes the pain go away. And it did. But I can tell you that night when you go to sleep, like even you brush your teeth, like many times, it just
still go.
the smell just doesn't go away. It's like
Coming out of your pores.
He's not going on.
fucking
Not
disgusting.
going on any dates.
It's like the worst.
On Mount Everest.
So like I mean, so like to answer your question about the salt thing, I think like there's a lot of people that start feeling a little bit dizzy after like 4,000 meters. So I felt that altitude sickness kicked in around 3,500 meters, but I drank a lot of garlic soup every day. I had to do it, and so after some time, like that kind of went away. So for me, like it was fine.
Yeah, it was even hard for me to like have sips of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a active will.
Yeah, it is because when you are at that kind of altitude, your body just wants to shut down. But your body wants to shut down doesn't mean that I want to go to sleep now. Because as much as your body wants to shut down, your mind is just literally just burning up. Like it's so painful So it's like, oh, you know, I just want to fucking do nothing. I just want to lie in bed and just do nothing. The cold, you know, it's cold. I'm in pain.
You're really sorry.
The muscles are just. I'm telling you, it's a crazy
Just
story.
got done saying how you have to go to Nepal.
But I mean, it's always, you know, like success waits for you after you have like
Right, of
really
course,
been
yeah.
So, but I mean, I would recommend you to do it anytime. It's just that like you have to be mentally prepared that, you know, you have to really work for it. You know, like you meet people along the way, and like the two things that you just hear is like, how's it going? And then everybody just replies you, hard work. It's hard work. It's hard work.
Yeah.
And it is really hard work. Like I mean, yeah.
So the question is, why did you go to Nepal? So what's your reason to go to Nepal?
So it's a funny reason. I mean, it's because like I told you just now, I told you guys just now, my ex cheated on me. So I thought that when I went to Nepal, I could like find myself.
Okay.
And literally that was the reason I did it by myself. I did Everest Base Camp by myself at 21 years old. It's still my proudest moment of my life.
That's pretty awesome.
Without any guides, without any porters. I just did
No
it.
way.
Yeah, without anything.
Wow, see?
Damn.
You never said if you're gonna.
Like I mean, like I told myself I was never gonna get a tattoo, but I just got it because like it was, I felt so proud of it. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's a crazy thing, and people normally do it in so the whole base camp trek takes about 12 days, 13 days, and then it's 11 nights. But once I reached base camp, I just came back down in 2 days. So to go up is 7 days, but normally people come down in 4 or 5 days. I just came down in 2 days, and the reason was because like I was literally having the worst kind of spaghetti that I've ever had eaten in my life. Literally, it was just fucking noodles and then just cheese, and then like, all right, here's your carbonara. I'm like, there's
You're sick of the food. The quicker I get back down,
yes,
the quicker
no
you eat.
fucking effort in that carbonara pasta. It's literally just noodles, cheese. That's it. Here's
Yeah.
your meal.
Well-
$7.
You can't blame them, I guess.
You can't blame them.
They drink strong celery tea. in
What's that?
Nepal? Do they drink yak butter tea in Nepal?
They do.
Have you had it?
No.
Yak butter
It's
tea.
horrible.
It's fucking nasty, mate.
Yeah.
Like,
Yak butter tea.
Yeah, it's like I had it a few times in Tibet, and like
Bro, come
you
here.
don't like
Yeah.
you know, like the
Come sit with us.
you know, like somebody wanted to like show hospitality to the Dalai Lama, so she went through all this trouble to get the Dalai Lama yak butter tea, but it's the kind of thing you bring into the room, and like he just like smells like, oh, I drank this all the time growing up. This is disgusting, but thank you.
yeah.
It's I don't know. The way I was raised is like if somebody offers you a cup of tea in their home, like you have to drink it. You know what I mean?
Hey.
So like that's just the way I was raised. Like so this is my first.
So if someone knew that ahead of time and wanted to play a prank on you, they could just say, like, get the nastiest stuff and be like, yeah, it's tradition in our house.
Oh yeah, no, I've had all sorts of stuff that like all sorts of stuff like that. And so I don't know. It's like I'm there as a student, going with like my American study group, or like study abroad group, and then like they bring it into the room. It smells horrible. There are like 12 of us, and like nobody wants to drink it. And then I just is like, I'm gonna have a cup, whatever. Like so, I drink one cup, but I didn't understand like Chinese tea culture at that time, where like if you're done, you're supposed to leave like a little bit of tea at the bottom.
Oh, really?
Well, I didn't understand that.
I don't know that. I don't know that either.
Yeah. So I finished the cup, just like where in my culture you asked for more. But then like in tea culture, it's like you drink it all, and it's like
So that was a symbol for like, oh, I really enjoyed that.
yeah.
I need more.
So it was on his face. Like he made this big, like he prepared it for like 12 people, and I'm the only person who's drinking it, just to be polite. And you're like, So like I don't know, I had 4 cups,
Yeah.
and that.
So you didn't even learn it after the second one.
Well, he was so happy. So I don't know. I had 4 cups, and then that night my stomach turned upside down. You upside down.
What were you in Tibet for? Study group.
Yeah, I studied in China for a semester, and then I went back after graduating and lived there for like 5 years.
So you don't speak some of the Chinese language?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Wow.
Really?
Really?
He can speak Chinese, so you can speak Chinese.
Can you actually speak Chinese though?
你是新加坡来的吗？
Yeah.
Ah.
Fucking hell, that's actually pretty good, eh?
That's good.
Can't lie, that's actually amazing. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Because normally people just come up to me like, "Ni hao."
Yeah.
That's the most common thing. I'm like, everyone, you can literally just go like Google and it's like, what's hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that you could clock my name and clock what country that I'm from too, it's pretty amazing. Eh?
It's a really cool language.
Yeah,
Really cool
But
language.
it's one of the hardest languages to learn, you know.
Yeah. Because it's two languages. There's like the spoken part and there's the written part. And they're like,
Yeah.
the issue is like people try to tackle them at the same time.
Yeah.
So then like I was lucky enough that I could learn like the speaking first and then like learn the writing after that. And it's gotten easier because you could just type like the pinyin, which is like the kind of nice characters. Like so then it pops up the character you need. So like it's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you traveling here? Like, are you kind of like backpacking, traveling, solo traveling? Like, are you here on holiday?
I work online. Like, you know, basically, I do freelancing work, and then I've been traveling around South Asia for a year.
Okay.
Yeah, just
For a
every year.
year now.
Yeah, for a year.
Wow. What is your work?
I do data analysis as well as some import-export China to the U.S.
How old are you? How old are you?
29?
Okay.
So you work for yourself? Like,
Yeah,
you're not-
I have different clients. So I do what?
Did you do that? Did you like get to that point because you wanted to travel more, or were you doing a job at a company and then kind of started working remotely and then realized you had the freedom to travel, or how did that? Because it sounds like you were traveling even in China. You went to China. And...
Yeah, I guess it started with me transitioning from teaching English into tech. So I lived in southern China where they have all the electronics manufacturing.
Yeah.
I would go to like these markets and like I'd find these like little components, and at the time I didn't know like what they were, but I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Just the way they look.
Yeah, it's like Chuck E. Cheese spindles. Like, so I just thought this was very cool. So then I taught myself programming, how to like make circuits, the soldering and things, and then I just started working on projects for other people, and then it kind of slowly turned into a career.
Wow.
It's kind of based on of like just being passionate about something, and then like.
So you were teaching English, and then you found these electronic markets, and were like, "That's really cool." Dug into that more, and then built career out of that world.
Yep. Yeah. Just I was lucky in that I thought it was cool, and then again, like the issue is like people think learning Chinese is hard, but then it's like if you're like really interested in a subject, then you like pick it up. Like for example, like you probably then enjoy like Spanish content media, so like watching Spanish TV shows and reading Spanish novels, things like that. You really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So like I really enjoy like electronics. So then I would like learn like how to read data sheet in Chinese, like how to like do these things, and then it just would like kind of snowball from there because that becomes interesting.
Wow. But what brought you? I assume you're from the States.
Yes.
And what got you involved? Like, what pushed you to want to maybe travel or go to China in the first place, or kind of start living that world?
I wanted to go on like after university, you know, like I majored in economics, and then I figured out very quickly I wasn't like proud to be a finance bro. Like, no disrespect to people who love finance, it's really cool how some people are interested in that, but it's not
Alone for you.
for me.
Yeah.
So then I was also studying like East Asian studies and this kind of thing. And then I had a chance to study in China and then live there. And I guess after I graduated from university, like my parents were like kind of traditional American, and that like they used to go off, I kick you out of the nest. So I got kicked out of the house a month after graduating.
Okay.
And then I hitchhiked all around America just because I had done that at university.
You never never coined it. Yeah. You can look at somebody.
I'm the really beginner here. I'm the really beginner here.
Yeah.
So which university did you graduate from?
Loyola Marymount University. Oh, it's like a kind of private Jesuit school on the West Coast.
Okay. Good. So which part of the native?
I'm from Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you went hitchhiking here in the States after you graduated, one kicked out.
Yeah.
Was that what drove that? Were you pissed off, or were you just like?
Well, it's like I just don't get. This is like kind of a combination of both. It's like, you know, I didn't have the best relationship with my parents.
Okay.
To be fair, I didn't really respect the rules of their house.
Right.
And I also wanted to leave. And I had the skill set from one, it's like being in the Boy Scouts and Eagle Scout and at a camp. And then two, like I'd gone to like and lived in the woods in Colorado for like a summer. And I knew how to hitchhike and like do it well, because there's like, it's like one of these things where there's a learning curve to it. Like once you know how to do it, it's like, it's very safe, and it's also like could be faster than taking a bus. Because let's say the bus leaves twice a day, like if the bus leaves at 6 o'clock in the evening, I could start hitchhiking at 6 o'clock in the morning and then get somewhere quicker than I would on the bus. And it's just wild, man. It's just wild. All these like crazy things that happen on the road.
And what did you learn with the hitchhike? What did you find, let's say?
I'd say like the thing I liked most about it was like in life it's hard to know like when you're making a mistake. Where like you know, like because like in life things take months or years to like unfold, and then in the day to day you don't know if you like made a good decision or a bad decision. But if you're hitchhiking, like it's like very clear, like because I have to get from A to B.
Yeah.
And then like I take the wrong ride, and then I end up like between A and B where nobody's picking up hitchhikers, and I have to like walk to the next spot where people stop, and then that could take like a few hours. And the whole time I'm in the sun, I'm kicking myself like, why did I do that? Like, why wasn't I patient? And then it's just like, then at the same time, like if once I had a system, then it was like compounding rewards. You know, I'd like wake up early when the farmers are out. So then the farmer would give me a ride to like a better spot to hitchhike, which would have taken me like a couple hours to walk, but I was there in like 10 minutes because this farmer saw me in the morning and then picked me up. Then I'd be there, and then like the long distance, I'd be in the right position for the long distance ride. So like leaving kind of like earlier in the morning, but then like not too late. And then it just like was this compounding thing where if I'd slept in, and like I wouldn't have gotten nearly as far. So like that's the main thing about it, is just like realizing, okay, like my decisions, like they're important, they matter, important. They have like benefits and drawbacks, and like I guess forming like a strategy in general.
So you can realize pretty quickly your mistakes. Is that what that's what?
Yeah, yeah, that was the thing.
Is like you learn your mistakes, but
yeah, and then just being able to read people, where you know you could like size somebody up really quickly if you're going to get a car with them. You have to have like a certain level of trust, and then like usually like my intuition would be like pretty spot on in terms of like, okay, like I get a good feeling here, I get a bad feeling here. It's like, okay, why is this person doing this? And then like, just like forming a mental model of what's going on.
You know, like
I hitchhiked as well in Australia, and I out of necessity, because I had to get from the middle of nowhere into Brisbane, and I was like literally in the middle of nowhere. I kind of bailed on a job of doing cotton irrigation out there, and they were like, the last bus left this morning, and then new bus doesn't come for a week. The only way you can leave this farm is if you hitchhike. So I did it. But one thing I did learn is like similar to what you're saying, you learn to kind of size people up pretty quickly, and then you also realize that there's a huge element of trust there on both parts. Like someone is in their comfortable car driving along with their AC, listening to their podcast or whatever. They don't need to pick you up. It's perfectly fine. They're perfectly fine there. It's actually way less risky and way safer for them to do that. But also, like, you don't know that person driving in the car, right? Like, you have no idea who they are. They have no idea who you are. And there's like a trust that you have to have there. And you meet some interesting people. Like some people are like,
really do.
I just felt like having an interesting conversation. Or I felt spontaneous today, or whatever. You know, it's kind of cool. You meet also.
Wow. So what is your crazy story that you've had when you were hitchhiking?
I guess they're like that same exact thing where like you're in a situation where like there could be like real issues. You don't have, it's like, you know, if you're gambling and like you're really hoping that you get a face card on the next like card that goes down, and then if it does that, then you're not like gonna die, but it's like you're gonna be sleeping on the side of the road, and it's like just not a good situation. And so yeah, like lots of these different things. Like,
Have you had like one moment that like oh like fuck, maybe I shouldn't have been in this car or something?
I'd say like I guess one time like this guy like offered like he offered money if I gave him sexual services.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
I heard that a lot.
Respectable about it, and he's like, but then he like, I politely declined, and then he's like, all right, I gave you my word to take you to this place. I'm like, not mad at you, it's fine. Then he still gave me a ride.
Yeah, what do you do in that? You have to probably just play. You still need a ride. You still need a ride. So
That's
you
the
just
thing.
like
That's why I accepted the ride.
Don't worry.
I needed that ride. Like I had walked, like I had no luck in this town. I was walking out as a dangerous place, and then I got a ride, and I just got this like feeling like, okay, he's sizing me up somehow, like not like sexually, but like he has some kind of ulterior motive.
Okay.
But then it was like, okay, I need the ride,
Oh.
and that only happened out of like one out of like hundreds of times.
The things we do for a ride, eh?
I mean, are you like physically prepared? Like, say, have you ever practiced like martial arts? In the
No, I didn't.
Never.
I didn't even have a knife or anything.
Did you know how to fight in the zero?
Well, the way like I have like a hustle is like if I'm in a situation where it's dangerous, I try to talk my way out of it.
Right.
So then like that.
So you use your improvisation like this.
Yeah, kind of like Jedi mind tricks. It's like I find like let's say like somebody's like high on like drugs or something. Like they're very easy to distract.
Yeah.
So then like I get them distracted and then start a conversation, and then that like disarms them. And so I find like that.
So better. I think it's a better technique anyway.
Wow.
It's being polite, basically.
Just staying polite. That's the thing, and it just find a way out.
Yeah.
So then, you went from hitchhiking around the U.S.
Oh yeah, I guess my best friend's brother. He was like an English teacher in China, and then like now it's a little different after COVID. But like before COVID, like if you like had a white face and a Western passport or like an English speaking passport, in a pulse you can get a job in teaching English in China. Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like kind of like ridiculous, but my best friend's brother, he said he can get me a job, and I was like, I needed a job at that point because winter was coming, and I was like, okay. So then I taught English in China for years after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite crazy. And then you went from experiencing like one complete culture to a complete different culture and immerse yourself in that.
Yeah, I mean, I studied it in school, and like I had like a basic level of like survival, Chinese. So then it wasn't like I was jumping off a cliff.
Yeah.
But it was really cool. Just you go to somebody's home, and then you meet their whole family, and you're speaking a different language, and then like
Like, are you talking about couch surfing and stuff like that?
or this is more like when I was like more settled, and then like I'd get to know people. So I don't know. I got to know my like friend from university. She was Chinese, and then she happened to live in the same city that I'd moved to. And like I met her family, and like they're just so warm. It was like so amazing, like going to like different like they'd have like the holidays like Chinese New Year or things like that, and they'd like invite me to their home and like show me all the traditions, and it was like a really cool experience.
So, what advice would you do? Do you have any advice for like? Because you obviously lived quite a different alternative life to what a lot of people have done. Do you have any advice for somebody that was like younger? What advice would you give someone that's younger, basically?
I'd say
I know that's a very
explore, but like make sure you have an exit plan.
An exit plan.
Yeah, like
That's a good.
where it's like, okay, if things like don't work out, like you're still exploring, but then like it's like maybe like 10 hours a week you're getting like certifications, you're like try, like, let's say you want to be like a graphic artist or something, you're like taking courses on like how to do that, like just educating yourself online.
Okay,
So don't just say like, put all your things in one thing and just say, fuck it, I'm just going to go.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you can explore, but also like have an exit plan or like something you try to develop like more long term.
Yeah, so like let's say like make your own safety net. Yeah, if the things stuff.
Yeah, or just be able to like move into a different path that may make more time, and like maybe you don't have the skills to get this job, or you don't have the like habits or whatever, but like just try and like explore, but make sure you have a plan or like what you want to do.
Do you feel that you have things that you are really about, like, as an individual? Are there things that you think now, like, oh, I'm about this, I'm really into this, this is kind of like the direction of me, and I can do any, I know this is a bit hard to answer, but I can do any of these types of jobs within it? Do you have a sense of self and direction even whilst traveling, because everything's changing, right?
Yeah, I'd say my sense of self is more wrapped up in my values,
Yeah.
and because like that's like the ultimate like flexible framework. Is like in any kind of situation, you could try to be like a kinder, wiser, more resilient person, and then like cultivating that is eventually going to have a big outcomes. And then you could add different values, you could emphasize values. It's like, yeah, it's like virtue ethics. So like that's how I try to like baseline it in with that. But it's like, what kind of person am I? And then like, what kind of person do I need to be to accomplish what I want to do?
So a question is, let's say like 3 of you already made a high risk and saved your life. Did it pay off?
If we made a high risk,
Yeah, I mean, let's say like you made a risk. I mean, you took the risk. Okay, you took the risk, like you quit your job, like the Rolls Royce.
yeah,
Did it pay off?
100%. Yeah, it is
100%.
Yeah,
You took the risk. You
No,
took the Nepal. Almost that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's I think for me, like, I mean, I'm literally the baby of this group, so like, definitely along the way, I mean, as I speak to more and more people, as I grow older and stuff like that, I safety net, you know, having an exit plan, it's definitely relevant for anybody, you know, who is mature enough to see the big picture, you know, rather than just like, oh, you know, I'm here to fuck around and find out and stuff like that. Which is pretty much what I'm doing now. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm aware of this. You know, like, I think it's important to be self-aware of yes, you know, you can have your fun and stuff like that, but, you know, you need to have like a balance, you know, in everything you do. So for me, it's like, you know, I love traveling and stuff like that. I told you, like, it's just like it's all about your values at the end of the day. Like, I'm close to my parents. I know that as much as I love what I want to do, they always come first. Like, I want to be close to them, and so, you know, I make a lot of like risk, and I live my life in a very simple. Okay, if let's say tomorrow I die, am I happy when I die? You know, let's say tomorrow I get in a car accident, I'm like fucking 10 seconds, and my blood is coming out of my mouth, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna die right now. Then
so it's a pretty bad way to die.
You never know. Yeah, and I just ask myself, like, would I be comfortable? Would I be content with where I am? I mean, it's a very sad way to look at it.
No, but it's a really good question, actually. I'm curious, what's your answer?
Like, I mean, if I was to die tomorrow,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely satisfied with that. Like, I'm genuinely contented with where I am. Like, even though it might not be like the best state of my life,
Yeah.
but I am truly happy right now. Like, that is the most important thing to me.
That's awesome. And you?
Like, if you die tomorrow, if I would tell you, all right, you know what, you got like fucking 5 hours more to live, and you're gonna just fucking shut up, would you be happy where you are?
Tell me that. I mean, obviously you wouldn't want it, but
Yeah.
or would you be like, fuck, I really wish I did this, or I really wish
I wouldn't be happy.
He haven't taken a risk yet. That's why. He haven't taken a risk yet.
So like for the moment, like
So the answer is no, then?
no, because
Not
I
yet.
haven't taken the risk yet.
Wow, okay.
The risk that I want to take is because my dad has a business. As your nation, though, when your parents has a business, they want their dad to continue it.
Right.
And I don't, because I feel like that's really boring.
Yeah.
Because I already see like money doesn't equal with happiness. I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah.
My dad, like, he's working his ass off, like, for 30 years, building that company, but he can't go anywhere. He's too focused on that. Right now, the world is already different. He got confused with the internet. He doesn't even know how to check in the internet with email. So it's like, fair enough, he got the money, but what can we do with it?
Yeah.
It doesn't have the balance. So I don't want it. So I've told my dad I want to do the video thing rather than creating thing. Maybe like teaching languages and something like that. And I already said it, but my dad's kind of like, I won't say like on, but still I'm
Not super supportive.
kind of like that. And also like I already made a contract with him. Let's say like I will have him until it's done. But the thing is, I said like last year, but until right now it's still going on, and I don't know until when. So I know the risk that I will take is that I just fuck it and go. I'm going right here right now.
Because
And it will be get shitty in the house.
Yes.
Like the relationship, it can be get shitty within him and me, and maybe like my mom can get dragged too. Maybe my brothers, everyone. I don't know if it's going to be worth it. I don't know if it's going to pay off. But shit, I need to do it in some.
You just by the way that you said like no, I'm not content yet, tells me that you need to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same
Yeah.
thing. Like, but if I was to give you an advice, like,
Yeah.
I think communication is very, very important in every situation.
100%.
Yeah.
You can avoid probably a lot. It obviously depends on who your parents are and how they are. But
Yeah.
if they love you and you're very open with them.
Yeah.
You have got to tell them that, like, look, it's just not what I want to do. You explain to them, like, you have to be level-headed when you talk to them.
Yeah.
And expect, and if they, if they can accept it, like, that's taller than you, mate. Like, you have already done your part.
Yeah.
Taking that risk, you've taken a step forward. Try to reach out to them. You're trying to explain to them. They get angry at you. You take it on yourself not to get angry back at them because you're trying to be reasonable with them. But if they just refuse to accept it,
Yeah.
like, as much as they're your parents, like, you can't do anything about it. Like, I'm always telling my mom and my dad the same thing. Like, as much as I say that I'm close to them, obviously we have, like, our fight and all that kind of stuff. But I make the effort to communicate with them. Like, I tell them that, like, look, I'm going to be living in Bali for, like, a couple of 8 months. And the reason why I'm going to do this is that. And then I listen to what they have to say. And if they're, like, against it, I just try to explain myself. And I'm not going to be like, oh, I always tell them this, like, I don't think that by doing this, I'm hurting you in any way. I don't think that, like, if let's say I'm telling you, look, Mom, I want to take drugs, then obviously you telling me not to take drugs and me telling myself, fuck that, I'm going to listen to her, that's on me, I don't see anything wrong with traveling. I don't see anything wrong with the way they're traveling. Meeting people, staying in hostels, living a very cheap life, but a happy life. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I explain to them, in this case, my context, and if they can't accept it, I've already done my part. Like,
Yeah.
So it's just the first step is to have the communication done.
I think that holds a lot of people back, actually.
Yeah.
Parents thing and the support thing.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, my mom supports me. But the thing is, like, with my dad, that's like the tough.
There's always that too.
That's like the.
but this is also like a lot of people's thing. They project their own things on you. It's not your fault. Parents, other people, like when I was working in the factory at Rolls-Royce, when I said I wanted to travel, whatever, everybody's like, well, what happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? You're going to probably run out of money in like a few things. You'll want to come back to this job and you'll never be able to get this job again, and all that was them projecting their fears on you.
Yeah, they're projecting their fears on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not really, it feels a lot about you, but it's not really about you. It's about their
own fears.
Right. And unfortunately, you are your own, well, fortunately for you, and unfortunately maybe for them, or fortunately, you're your own person.
Yeah.
they brought you into the world and they helped you craft you to where you are now. But as human beings, like, you can't own another human being, you know, like, even if you brought them into the world, you don't own them, as they're going to have their own individuality. So, and if it plays with your, this is also where there are different levels of tolerance. Some people are like, you know what, I'll be unhappy so that I can fulfill what my parents need. And some people are like, I really value my own self more than making them unhappy for a while. I think you should definitely, like he said, find a way of communicating that in a clear, kind, caring way.
Where, well, the thing is, like, I still get some time, but like next year I'll go to Brazil and Chile. They get them moved, but that's only like maybe maximum like 2 months.
Oh, well, you're taking that. It's just
I take the little
you
step.
can't project in 5 years ahead, whatever like that. You know, it's like, man, you never know what's going to happen. You might go to Brazil for 1 month, hate it, come back, decide, you know what, I actually want to do the business. You might go and be like, I can't ever imagine living in Indonesia again, or whatever. You might fall in love. Like, there's so many things that can happen. There's no way of predicting all of the outcome.
Yeah, all possibilities.
Like, I mean, the fact that you're going to Brazil or going to another part of the world next year, it's definitely a step of faith.
Yeah.
Like, if it's like you said, anything could happen. Like Nick is right. You know, you could be in a better place in your life, you could be in the worst place in your life, but at least at the end of the day, it's still a lesson.
The one thing that I think I've learned a lot over time is that if you stay in one place and stay still, you can predict a lot easier what's going to happen, what the outcome is going to be, than if you start to take risks and move forward. If you stay in one place, history kind of gives you a good idea of what's probably going to happen in the future. You work your job, your 9-to-5 job, you stay in your town, you don't travel much, whatever. The mailman comes at the same time every day. You can predict a lot more things. But when you step out into the unknown and the unpredictable, you can't really plan. You can't. But that's also where all these amazing experiences come, where you're in a tea room in Nepal and you meet some guy that unceremoniously just turns up and you're talking to him and he's done summited Everest 21 times or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of us find joy in those. Stepping into the unknown is scary, but it also breaks so many different things you never could have even dreamed.
Yeah, that's like,
What happened?
that's like the thing that I would do. Like, I want to do that. Like, they said, like, if it scares you, do it.
Yeah.
That's what they said. Like, if it scares, really scares you, that, I don't know if that's true, but
It is true. Doing most growth comes from going in, stepping out of your comfort zone.
yeah, it is like really, this is like outside of comfort zone pressure. Like going to Brazil, that's like the furthest country that I've been like alone. It's really like Thailand. I mean, Thailand is with my friend too. So it's still like literally this Brazil and Chile, South America is literally alone. I have friends there, but still.
Yeah. But you won't be alone, you know?
That's the thing.
Like, you think about it now, yeah, you'll be alone, but the odds are that you probably won't be alone at all, you know?
I won't say, like for now, like, we're not alone.
Of course, yeah, we don't even really know each other, and only you two know each other, but we had a great conversation, you know, It's Friday night, been hanging out for a couple hours, and connecting on loads of different cool levels, learning from each other.
Yeah.
I've got inspiration now to go to Nepal and check that out, you know.
Definitely, wait.
And I think that is what is so amazing about travel,
Yeah.
stepping out of your comfort zones,
Yeah.
and all of that. And it doesn't have to be traveling across the planet, you know. It can be going to a new city, going to a new town. It can be just going to that restaurant you've always kind of maybe wanted to go to, but you've been a bit nervous to try that new cuisine or something. Like the scale varies for different people of their cultures. But anyway, I think we've been chatting for like 2 hours.
Damn, this is
hour
like
and a half.
a walking dead.
Bye. I'm sure it won't end here, but for the video, I think we should call it quits there. But thanks for watching this video. I hope it's inspired some of you. There's been loads of stories. It's gone in all sorts of different
Nepal.
directions. Yeah, you're probably going to want to go to Nepal. And I'll put links for everybody's contacts and stuff. And just know that if you decide to come traveling, it's probably going to result in meeting lots of people, having lots of cool experiences, and learning a lot too.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this video. Give us a comment about other things you'd like to learn about, or know about, or chat about on these things. We might do more of them. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Ciao.
Hey, give us a shout out to
My
your
YouTube
channel.
So yeah, follow me if you like languages. Basically, I combine languages and comedy, and I'm trying to combine the language exchange and cultural exchange. It's like Sonny Wills. That's me. And if you're in Instagram, Sonny Wills with underscore and with the double N, and that's me. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Yes.
Yes, bro. Just do it.
Yihurn and Juni. So it's my name.
Yeah.
It's my Chinese name, and then it's with Juni behind.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's good having these kind of conversations and just being open in general. So it's really cool.
I think it's really important. You have any social handles you want to shout out or no?
Not really, not really.
Cool. Well, thanks for your input.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.